Sharon and I have been teaching the Certified Knowledge Specialist class with KMI for quite a few years now. And we thought we would have a quick conversation or check-in with one of our good friend students, Rachel, Dr. Teague, wondering how you've applied the class, what's been going on for you since class. Or Sharon, how should we get started?
Yeah. And can I say it's great to be here. We love this course, and it's brilliant to check back in with you, Rachel. So, what I'd really love to know is anything that stuck with you, because it was a year ago. So anything that really stuck with you from that program.
Yeah, sure. This is a great course, and I've recommended it to a bunch of people actually after the fact. And when I've explained it, I've explained it in the sense of you're going to go into this and you are going to feel really ill prepared. Now, that's not saying that it's because of how it's set up or that you are inadequate or anything like that. It's because some of the concepts are just thinking differently than how you might typically think, right? It's kind of deconstructing the way that you would typically approach a problem, or at least I would. And the folks that I had talked to after the fact who took it sort of felt the same way, right? Because after the first day they texted me, they're like, "Oh my God, what am I doing?" and certainly not in a bad way by any means, but they're like, I understand what you mean now by saying I I don't know because I typically go into problem solve mode as a consultant, as somebody who tries to fix things as a solutioner. And this course really helped me kind of take that step back and to look at the overall picture, but also to humanize the problem and to talk to people who are in the thick of it and to learn from the folks who are in their situation, to be able to kind of help just see where they're at, meet them where they are, and to help figure out, okay, well, why are you here? What is going on, really? And just trying to step back. And that is something that I've always struggled with because, like I said, I am that forward thinker that let's just run, fix the problem, go. That's just my nature. I will. It drives my family crazy. So that's something that I would say that was a little bit of a struggle for me, but I really appreciated the space and the mindset shift that came out of it. And after that first day where I just felt, I don't want to say inadequate, but kind of that overwhelm of, whoa, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I would say for anybody taking the class, that's normal. You're going to feel the things, and that's okay. So, expect that, but don't let it scare you. Don't not take it because of that. Because if you're open to it, it can be. I think that's where I'll start with it, and I'll pause and see if you want clarification and where.
Yeah, I wonder if I could jump in because I just love it. A couple of things really resonated. One is, it's real for us too. Well, it's real for me too, and I worked with John for a while, so I'm guessing probably real for John. And I think that's one of the great things. It's real every time. It's different every time. And this idea of humanizing, I think this is your phrasing, and it's a really beautiful phrasing of what it means to be able to bring an OD mindset, skill set, tool set alongside. So kind of, you still got those great skills of problem solving. You didn't lose those along the way. So, what we hope and love is people step into, other aspects of themselves. And I love that idea of humanizing.
Yeah, I heard something very similar. The seeing of the solutioning, right? Like as opposed to just like almost falling would be my word. Like that's just what you do. There is no other choice. Why even stop and think about it? Whereas, yeah, that catching of, oh, I'm solutionizing, or oh, now we're decision making, or oh, now we're in conflict, or oh, now. So seeing what is going on, using Rachel's words, I'm also thinking about the class itself. We've got the 3Ds: Diagnostic OD, Dialogic OD, Dynamic OD, and then use of self. And I know the one for me that just seems unlimited, abundant, is the use of self
Yes.
one, where it's like every time I look at it, there's just a whole nother area to explore or practice or be with. Have any of those four, I guess, Rachel, any of them stuck or applied more or popped up more for you?
So similarly, right? Like there's the 3Ds, right? Those three, I think, fall in for me that traditional mindset of the toolbox, the problem solve, all of that. So that use of self piece, when it comes to this stuff, is the tool that draws the human centered piece into it for me. Now, one thing about me is I pride myself in being able to, translate the nerd to human, to bring the human approach to things. I really focus on the human side of KM anyway. So one would tend to assume that I would typically bring the human approach to most things that I touch anyway. But when I fall into problem solving solution mode, I just jump in and get it done. And I forget that human aspect sometimes. So the use of self is definitely I think the tool, or the fourth aspect that definitely is the one that stands out most, and the piece that I have fallen into practice more with, because I am checking in with myself more. I am recognizing that I have the tools that I can apply and that I can rely on, but also, as an extension, the folks that I am working with also have that as well, right? It's not just me using myself, it's the people I'm working with that are using themselves as well, and being able to have the conversations, being able to have the check-ins, being able to have the different perspectives and the different lenses brought to the conversation, to the table as well. That is almost the greatest tool that you can have, because anybody can, I don't want to say anybody can diagnose the problem, but the problem can be diagnosed, right? You can go through and you can do the steps, but if you don't have the understanding of the actual dynamic, if you don't have the understanding of the pieces that connect it all, the overall intricacy of the person, the flow behind it, then the whole design just kind of can fall apart entirely. Nothing will actually get fixed.
John, you looking thoughtful?
I'm thinking about the client exercise too, is what I'm thinking about. So one of the things that stands out for me in this particular 3-day class is the 3Ds, practicing the 3Ds on the first day, or experiencing the 3 days. There is content, but it is meant to be interactive and exercise driven on that first day. And then second day, we jump right in with the client, as we all know here, which, to Rachel's point, like ill prepared or scary, or what am I getting into? What is this? What do I even do? Don't even know where to start. It's a little bit by design, but it's also meant to be the practice of what we just talked about. So there's a little bit of both. And then that entire third day is use of self. And I think we've often talked about the design and considered other designs and thought about what is the best way to learn or practice or embody or feel organization development. We always need real life clients for the class.
Yeah.
So the three of us right now, if you have any help and watching the recording, we always need another organization to practice with on day 2. So that's what I'm thinking about, the design and the impact, and would any other options work, or feedback on that current design, anything about the flow of the 3 days.
So the client exercise was really cool to be able to work with the client that we did. The client that we had was it gave me some cred with my kids actually. So it was a cool client. But being able to actually have the face time with a real organization that was going through a real problem and being able to kind of help see a problem through was nice to be able to have that practical experience. The takeaway with that was when we did our quick presentations at the we so I'll back it up even. We had our question asking session, and I can't remember how many. It was like what, 2 or 3 minutes where we each got to ask, like each group got to ask 2 or 3 minutes worth of questions, and we all get to learn from those questions. And then we went back and did our group work, and then we got to present to everybody. And the way that each group approached it and presented was so different. And that was really cool to see, because everybody's application with the same guidelines, the same material, the same tools, the same everything it was eye-opening, because it just gave that different perspective piece, right? It didn't really matter where anybody's ability was. Everybody was learning. Like, I've been in and out of clients for bulk of my career, and I was still able to take away from the conversations because I was able to apply the skills in a different way. So that was really neat. And I think the client, just based on the feedback that they were able to give us as well as you, I think they were able to take some stuff away and actually try to apply it, which was really nice, or at least good feedback to hear on our end. And then we were able to get feedback on what might have worked or what didn't work, or what they appreciated in our approaches and delivery. That was really valuable to hear in real time. Now, on the other side of this, I have also had the unique perspective of being the client, which has been really cool. So I have not only been the participant in the course, but I have been the client. And it's also really neat to see the participants come through with the same tools and the same experience and the same "what am I doing" looks on their faces. And to be able to look at them and, like, say, "Oh, I know where you are, and I know what you're doing, and I know you're getting valuable stuff, you just don't know it yet." Well, not actually say that, but but for them to see the growth in them from day 2 to the end of the presentation, or the beginning of the presentation to the end, or however you phrase it, the beginning of when I meet them to the end of when I meet them, to see the growth and the confidence and the skills, because it is such growth, but such confidence, such empowerment. You can see the shifts in how their delivery of even just how they ask questions. It's not just you need to do this, as much of, well, have you thought about this? Like how they shape the questions, how they tailor the conversation. They ask why, as opposed to, you need to do. So you can see how the shifts take place as well. So I've just rattled off a lot. I'll pause to see where you're at.
What I really hear from that, and I think you just put it beautifully, is the fact we say client exercise, but really it's anything but an exercise. It's a real live situation. So clients appear as themselves with their real stuff going on. Participants appear as themselves with their real stuff, and it's different every time. And I think it's that it's that real engagement for real that for me, the more that we kind of talk client exercise, the more I know it's not an exercise. And I think what I see is it gives space to take your next step. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you want, there's something to take that. And what I absolutely love is people just feeling the confidence to they've come as themselves and it's real, I'm gonna try. I'm going to do something, and that's the magic, isn't it? When there's that opportunity for real learning, and so many people take the opportunity.
Yeah.
You don't see many people sitting back and not taking the opportunity, and it feels real where I am too.
Two of the big ones that pop up for me, I think we've seen this, but help me out, Sharon, Rachel too. The solutioning, I think, is a very common one we've seen where many people come into the class and they're looking to learn some content and how to apply that content to get to solutions. And so that mindset shift of, oh, wait, I'm jumping to solution mode. Other modes are there, can be a big, scary learning moment. The other one is individuals that like time to process and think things through, and I need a few days, weeks to think about this, and then I'll come back with some thoughts. And another extreme of some people that are like immediately get it and are thinking out loud and playing with it immediately before even sleeping on it or thinking about it. Catching that too. So that kind of feedback of like, I've never spoken up in a class before, and I'm used to just sitting and listening to content. And then here I was interacting with a customer in real time during a class. That was very different. And learning to see the impact you have on others, whether it's the client or classmates or yourself. Those can be some of the big shifts. And then the other, I think, separate point I'm trying to make here is, for me, practicing KM, practicing OD, it's a little moment I'm having even on this recording right now of like, KM seems to stick with me, and maybe it's just me. I don't feel like I get as rusty in knowledge management. It's sort of always present. OD, even on this call right now, this recording right now, it's almost like I need constant practice to stay fresh in OD. And so, yeah, I see your head, both of your heads nodding, but Sharon, for me, like, that's part of the beauty of being in class together. It's like, oh, wait, this is part of a refresh, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, I will say along those lines, when you asked me to do this, I had to stop and think for a minute. Okay, OD, what do I have to bring to the forefront? The refresh. Not because I don't use the skills, not because I don't practice, because I do, but I had to think through what is it that I'm actually practicing, because I don't necessarily use the words that go along with OD, because the commonality of people think OD is something else always, right? Like, and they don't realize they're doing it. Just like KM, people always think KM is something else, when in all reality, they're doing it constantly. So it's just thinking, when you have to actually think about it and without being mindful, like, or while you're being mindful of it, rather, it becomes a practice, right? But if I actually have to, like, with this call, I sat down and I actually, there wasn't much to prep. I'm not sitting here like, oh, I prepped all of these answers, because as you know, I did not. It was just a matter of, okay, I need to refresh the language. I needed to refresh the what did we go through in the course? How was it set up? Because these are so many things that I have now put into practice on a regular basis, rather than jumping to solutions right away. I mean, do I still jump to solutions? 100%. But I've gotten better about it, because I strongly believe, because of this course, I've been able to, even in my personal life, stop, pause, and ask the questions before I jump in and just try to fix everything. And that has helped in so many areas, not just work. So that's cool.
Yeah.
To anybody considering this course, that's bang for your buck right there. It can help your relationships. It can can help you all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It is so transferable, and as John said, kind of getting your head back in that space. And I think maybe that's part of what OD is being choiceful, isn't it? Being choiceful, about how we're showing up, kind of catching ourselves when we kind of go, oh, I'm doing that thing again that I do. Is that the right thing for me to be doing at this moment? What are my other choices? And, you know, in many ways, without wanting to sound glib, it's a bit of a life skill, really, isn't it? To be able to be choiceful about how we are with others. And I think that's the most transferable part I have found with OD as well.
Maybe final thought for me is, you know, Sharon, I really appreciate how we come with all of our experiences and examples and teamwork, the collaboration that we've got, not only with each other, but with the entire group of people and even across cohorts, because we continue those conversations a little bit, just like right now. Yeah, I really do appreciate and the people coming into the class also come with all this different experience. So to drop a bunch of the buzzwords, right? So we've also often have learning and development professionals. Every once in a while have communications professionals, complexity, change, certainly knowledge management, a little bit of org development, a little bit of org design, and I'm probably off the top of my head forgetting 10 others. Project management, program management, senior leadership. Yeah, it's a really nice, like, it's designed to bring that experience into the room. What is it that when you're working with groups, what is it that you see happening in that group based on your experience? Share that around, and all of a sudden, to Rachel's point, wow, I thought I understood myself in groups, and now I see 10 other ways instantly.
And to bounce off of that, I'm a pretty collaborative person. There are not many people that I have a hard time working with. And I had a fairly challenging group that I worked with. And that gave me some perspective as well. It gave me more tools for my toolkit to work through some challenge. And you know, that was unique. To work through that as well, to be able to still step back and to be able to reflect and to be able to, I hate to use the word solve the problem, but to meet the goal that we were set out to meet, right? Because we weren't solving the problem. We were out to, you know, meet the expectation, meet the goal, whatever the target was. We were still out to meet that target, right? And we were still able to do that despite some of the challenges that we faced within our group. So it gave me some strong interpersonal development as well, which is something that I typically don't have a challenge with. So it gave me that opportunity for collaboration as well. So I had forgotten about that until you had mentioned working well collaboratively. I would say that, like, again, something just like consulting, something that I mean, and I'm not this brilliant consultant that can change the world overnight, but definitely I do all right. And just like collaboration, I do all right with that too, but I'm still learning in every setting that I put myself in, and I took a lot away from this class in more than one avenue.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much for checking back in with us, Rachel. It's honestly just such a pleasure to reconnect. And I you know, maybe we'll check back in with other people as well. But this has been just so helpful. Really love the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.